welcome back to La La Land, and today I'm doing a spoiler-free review of A Wrinkle in Time. Okay, so reading this book took me actually a really long time just because it was kind of hard for me to get through, and I had a lot of thoughts at the end that I want to share with you. So first of all, this is spoiler-free, so I'm going to do my best to keep it that way. So just to start off, this is just an odd book to me, and it's just a very weird, odd book, and I can't quite place to you what it is that makes it odd, but just it's a mixture of the plot line and the characters and everything. So this is kind of like a sci-fi classic almost, A Wrinkle in Time is, and reading it now, it doesn't seem that like revolutionary, but I feel like for when it came out, this book was probably had a lot of impacts on sci-fi. Reading this book, I kind of felt like that. So first of all, these characters are just kind of weird. Like, you get right into that in the very beginning. They're just kind of weird. And their relationships are a little weird. I would read to you one of the very first conversations two of the main characters have, and it's just a weird conversation. I remember just putting down my book and being like,
this is weird. This is odd.
It just didn't, it's kind of when characters just like,
I met you for the first time and now I'm going to tell you my whole life story and my deepest, darkest secrets.
you know, but it was just sort of done in an odd way. And that's not saying I didn't or I wasn't able to enjoy the characters or their relationships, but it just was at times kind of an odd, sort of weird feeling I would get from them. However, I will say I did enjoy the characters, and I'd probably say my favorite character was Charles Wallace, and his character was such an interesting, cool idea, and I thought it was executed very well. I liked his storyline, I liked his character a lot. I really enjoyed Charles Wallace. I enjoyed the world building in this book. It was very well done. I enjoyed the world building and the animals and creatures and the surroundings that came with the world, and it all felt very real, and it was really just neat, I guess is what I want to say. There were just so many interesting, cool ideas in this book that I wish could have been expanded on more, like Mrs. What's-It, Mrs. Who, Mrs. Which. They were so interesting and cool, and I wanted to know more about them, and I just didn't get it in this because it is a very short book. This book is, well, it's not even a book, technically speaking. 190 pages, so it's not that big. I thought the author did a really good job describing things in it, painted a very vivid picture where you could see things very clearly. She did an excellent job with that. I love happy endings, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy a happy ending, but this ending was really rushed, and I remember reading it and being like, there's no way they're going to be able to execute a good ending with this being so rushed. And it was just kind of like the classic sort of rushed ending, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It goes with the book. I wish they would have done it a little better. I wish she would have done it a little better. But it's not the hugest, it's a pretty big deal, your ending, you know, you want it to be important, and I just didn't think the ending was that great. I thought this book had so many cool, interesting elements that I really enjoyed. And while I was reading this, I was reading it off and on a lot, where I'd be reading it for a while, and then I'd have to take a break, and I'd be reading for a while, and then I'd take a break. And I would get bored with it a lot, and then I'd be like, this is such an interesting, cool idea. And while they were executed very well in this book, I wish it could have been so much longer, because there were so many interesting things that happened in this book that I wanted more of. I wanted to understand it more. I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to do more with it. And I really wish that would have happened, because there were so many just moments where you're like, this is really cool. Not cool. It was just, you'd go, wow, that is a really interesting thought. I wish I could have seen more of this. And when I was reading this, I did not know that there were multiple books that came out after it. I discovered that later. So when I finished this, I just remember thinking,
That's the end? Really? You sure?
because it didn't seem right. It didn't seem right, and I was just like,
It doesn't make any sense.
then I discovered there's more books, and I hope that in those books, the author maybe returns to some of these things, and you get to see more of them, which I don't think. I feel like each book is sort of a separate adventure, which kind of bums me out, because there were so many things I wish that she would have expanded on. And not to say that she didn't do a good job with them, but just they were such an interesting thought that you wanted to know more about it. And while this book is very much like sort of the, stereotypical adventure, save this, do this, defeat the great darkness, evil, there were times where you could definitely tell where this book was sort of set apart from other stories very similar to this. And so it was printed in the United States of America in March 1976, I believe. If that's wrong, I'll figure out a way to tell you. But I feel like this book, and I wasn't able to do a lot of research on this, so I apologize if I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, you can correct me in the comments, it's okay. But I feel like this book did have a big impact on how books today, not necessarily the storyline, but I could see a lot of things that are done today that were done in this book. And I feel like it had a very big impact not only on the science fiction world, but also just in books in general. And even the elements that are just very stereotypical you find in many books, they were done well. And if I'm being completely honest, I would say I really enjoyed this book. But since I'm being honest with you, I'm going to say I didn't like the main character. I enjoyed her in the beginning, and then like halfway through the book, I was just like, I can't, what? I didn't really like her a ton. I believe it's Charlie. I think it's Charlie. It's Calvin. My bad. Sorry, Calvin. Calvin, I liked Calvin, and I liked Charles, and I enjoyed them. Meg kind of irritated me, so honestly that kind of messed up a lot of the book for me. I wish some of the elements in this could have been executed better. There were times where I was just kind of bored with the storyline, in all honesty, which is why it took me a while to get through it. But all in all, I did enjoy a lot of the elements of this world, whether it's the villains or the ideas or the worlds in the world. I enjoyed the characters and just the interesting concept of some of them, and just I wanted to figure out and know more of them. there was so much interesting things, and honestly it was just sort of Meg and the ending that kind of were really just made this book harder to read. And like, if I had to describe this book in one word, I'd say it's weird. Like, I don't know if you can tell by my cover, but there's like a ton of covers for this book. Like, I was going through and there were so many, and I got the weirdest one. So I was prepared for this book to be weird. And it's not weird like
Mad scientist, tentacles coming out of goop weird.
it just has sort of just like a weird, odd aesthetic to it. But you know, it's a quick read, it's a short read, it's an interesting book with a lot of really interesting factors that could have been exploited so much more. And I honestly don't know how I feel about this book, because I love so many of the concepts and so many of the elements in it, but just the main character and the ending and sort of the sluggish plotline at times was really hard for me to get through. And part of the plotline problem was just I was also reading other books that I found more interesting. Sorry. So it's hard for me to give a rating for this book for you. I was like debating between 2 or 3 stars, which I know that's like really low on the end, but just I can't tell you what I should give it. I say maybe like 2.3 or 3 stars. I'm gonna go with like such a low rating though. Okay. There are so many elements in this book that are so worth reading just because it does have a lot of really interesting elements. But if I have to grade the book overall, I'm going to say it's like a 2.3. If I were to take out like the 2 main factors, like the two things that really grind me on it, it'd be like a 3 on it. And there were so many cool, just like, I enjoyed so many things about it, but there was just that ending and Meg just really, I did not enjoy, but like everything else,
And a little of the plotline.
but like everything else was so good. So 2.3 if I'm being picky, because I am a picky person. So I hope this review was helpful for you. I know it was kind of all over the place. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys should read the book. Tell me what you guys think this rating should be. Tell me if you thought this book was kind of weird and odd like I did. Yeah, so 2.3 if I'm picky, but yeah, tell me what you guys think of it. Alright, and I'll see you guys next time in La La Land. Bye! Hold up. Wait. Before you go, like, comment, and subscribe for more videos from me, and you can see more of me, and tell me what you guys think in the bottom. I'll see you guys later. Bye.